Hi everyone. So the big day has come. We want to release Octojoom to the rest of you. I've been working with it for a while, trying to make it easier for all of us to work with our Joomla development stuff. So I hope you all also find this as useful as I have. Let's show you how it works. So to install it or to get this script, just go to this URL here. Maybe I can make that bigger. So there you can see it, git.vdm.dev/octolio/octojoom. So that's the little script's name, Octojoom. I'm sure it will be quite memorable and easy to type. So how to get it installed once you get here is basically part of what the README file will tell you, but let me show you that anyway. To install, simply copy this part, run that in your terminal, and then do that, and you should be ready to Octojoom. So I've prepared a little VirtualBox demonstration. So I'm going to spin up Ubuntu, since the script only works in Ubuntu. I'm going to spin up Ubuntu in a VirtualBox. It's not completely vanilla because I've already installed Docker. I've already installed Docker Compose. That's basically it. When I installed Docker, I followed the instructions on the Docker website. The same with Docker Compose. The only difference is I made the user that it can run Docker without sudo. That's important. Make sure that you set up Docker in your Ubuntu system, that you don't need sudo to run a Docker command. Okay, I'm not going to do too much in explaining that. If you have any questions about that, please just open an issue if you need to, or find the answer there with the Docker website. It's at the bottom of the page. There's steps to follow after installation, and it shows you how that is done. Okay, let's spin up this little machine here, and let me show you how easy this is to get things going. So once you're in your Docker, your Ubuntu system, just open terminal. So there's a shortcut for opening terminal. I've increased the terminal font a little. Hope that's helpful. Okay, let's see. To install the script, we said that we only need to copy this command here. So basically copy that and then paste that into our terminal and enter. It'll ask for our sudo password, and then to run the give the script execution permission so that you can actually run it. It's very similar to how you would install Docker Compose. Okay, so now Octojoom, enter. It will ask you where to store your Docker documentation. It will ask to create it. Set up an environment variable file, ask you where to store your projects. It will also ask to create it. Now, if you're using this in a local development environment, like I'm doing here, then you would probably want it to update your host file, so you don't need to bother with that. So I'll say yes, and we're ready to go. First thing, we pull up traffic, which is our egress router, which is going to take care of our routing, so we don't need to even think about that. So it's quite simple to set it up. It will ask us one or two questions. Just start it up. And the first thing, if you were running this in production, you'll probably say yes. But here we are local, so no static public IP, so no. It will suggest the username and the current container type as a domain. I'm just going to change that to Joomla.vdm, just a generic local domain name for my purpose here. Say OK, and we are ready to continue and enable traffic. So I just clicked yes, and if traffic has not been pulled down by Docker before, it will pull it down and it will enable it. So now traffic's running. You could also open Podtrainer at this point. Podtrainer is a kind of browser interface to see your containers, to stop them, start them, do all kinds of things with them. It's like an extra layer of managing the Docker stuff from a web browser. Obviously, you don't need that, but some might think that's quite convenient, so I added that as well. We're not talking about OpenSSH today. I can just tell you quickly that that is going to give us the option to, in a live environment, production environment, give people access to parts of our websites which only they should have access to. So there is some nice functionality there. I'm not going to even bother, or wait, you know what? Let me just spin up Podtrainer so I could show it to you quickly. It's going to ask us whether we want to allow multiple domains. Read that nice and carefully. I'm going to say yes for now. It's really a smart option. I think I need to enlarge this a little so we can see better next time. I'm going to call it port, and that's fine. Now it's asking if you can add it to the host file. Yes, yes, and then enable. So now it's also now going to enable Podtrainer. Now to do our first website, I'm going to set new container. You could actually go to this URL here, there, and any of the tags that is available there in the official Joomla Docker instance you can use here. That means even 4 or any of those. I'm just going to use, well, let's use 4.0. Enter. Now you can read this carefully. It's basically some keys to help us prevent collision. So I'm going to use something that will be just convenient for now, but usually you will use the project name, which then will be basically a way of identifying things later. And I'm again choosing that domain name that we said previously and using that Octojoom as the subdomain, and then it's going to give me the options to update the database name, the database username, the database password, the database root password, and it's going to store all of that for us in the joomla.env file, and it's going to add it to the host file if it's not there already. I've already run this before, so you can see it's there, and it's also doing that for the database. And then that's ready. Now we can just spin it up. So it's now spinning up the Joomla container, first MariaDB, then phpMyAdmin and Joomla itself, and then it gives me the configuration details I'll need to actually configure the website further in the browser. We are working on a unattended deployment option. It's not ready, but probably be soon. Okay, so we could go here and say open link, and this will go to the browser. It might not be ready because it is downloading things still, so there might be a little delay there, but nonetheless we could use the moment to also look. Yes, see, it gives us this bad gateway. That's not a big deal. We're gonna get that ready just now. Here is Podtrainer, the script I told you about. I think I've got login details. Once, if you run this the first time, you're gonna have to just set up some things, and the defaults are usually the, yeah, fine. So just set up Podtrainer. If you have questions about that, check out their website. They've got brilliant documentation. So here you could see the, so let me show you again. I basically went to dashboard, containers, and here's the containers currently running. So there's the traffic container, there's Podtrainer, there's MariaDB of the Octojoom. So you see that name collision, it sort of helps us to mitigate some of that that extra challenges. Okay, so let's see if Joomla is ready. Yes, it should give you this the server is now configured message, and then you know, okay, fine, I can now go here, refresh, and we'll see our Joomla website is ready to go. Now we can give it a name. In fact, you know, from here on, everything is really the normal setup that you would do with Joomla. I'm going to quickly run through this so to save us time. Just to show you here why that configuration details were so helpful, we can now come back here and grab the information that we need to set up the database stuff. So here we'll need to add that one, and then we need this password, and it is also stored in this path. So if you need to go get this after the fact, then you could go there and get it. But make sure to set these details correctly when you actually set up the container, then you won't have any challenges afterwards. There we go. And our website's up and running. And now, what has our script done? Well, let me show you on the file system. On the file system, we have our script now. Let me just move this a little more. It has created this project folder, and inside it, it has placed our Joomla website files and our database files. And so if you want to back up your whole system, your whole database, you only need backup the projects folder, and everything of your Joomla sites will be in here. Now there is sometimes a challenge because the Docker instance of Joomla automatically creates these files to belong to the w-data user. So if we open terminal and we do a lsla lookup, we'll see that all these files belong to the w-data user, which is the default website user of Ubuntu, of Debian. Well, anyway, so the point is we added a little script that helps us to mitigate some of that pain. I know that's not convenient, but it's the only way at this point. So when you have your Joomla container already set up and it's running in the browser like we have it here, then you can in your script go to the container again and then do this fixed permission of folders and select that project. You'll have a list of projects. You could select multiple, but just if you select one, and then say yes for updating the privileges. It might ask you for a sudo password because it does need it, and in that case just enter that. And so now it's basically updating that website so that I, the current user, in this case Ubuntu, will be able to edit those files. You might need to run this script a number of times because as you interact with it and as the container interacts with it, it might change the permissions, and so you might need to update that every so often. So once you've run the update, you're able to open any of the files in a IDE like that, save the changes, and yes, that's how it works. But like I said, it didn't affect the permissions this time, but sometimes it does. So if you find any issues that seems like a file error, then just come here, run again this file permission folder, and then that should do the trick. Okay, well, there's so much more to say, but I don't want to make this too long. We're nearly at 15 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you'll enjoy the script. There is a help menu here. The script also has command options, so you could run the script without this little whiptail GUI. So if you want to see the commands, they are basically accessible through this help area. They are also accessible by running the script with -h. There are still continued growth around the project, and we are foreseeing a lot of additions and exciting things. But for now, at least just to put a minimum viable product out there and to get us all in a place where we can much easier deploy our Docker containers and interact with them. So you could add as many containers as you like. There is a lot of functionality here. I would suggest spinning up a Docker virtual machine, Ubuntu virtual machine, and just try out everything. So you don't feel unexperienced when you actually need to use it in an actual project. Okay, well, thank you very much. Until next time, take care.